Hello, I'm back. I haven't been on YouTube for a while, but actually, I am back. And today I'm gonna actually teach you something. Um, Today we are going to learn about, and I'm going to talk to you, and you're going to learn about, we're going to talk about the golden age of piracy. The Union soldier storyteller here is going to tell you about pirates. Did a little research earlier today. Learned that the golden age of piracy was between 1650 to 1725, 1730. And it phased out in the 1830s. But they were a group of people, group of men basically, who were seamen. They either worked on Royal Navy ships or were Navy sailors themselves or were merchant sailors. Pirates were actually privateers at the time. And they were hired by the English to go after Spanish and French, Puerto Rican, Switzerland ships, and they were to smuggle, they were to take cargo, give it back to England. Well, sometimes these sailors would quit the seafaring industry. They would click. They would quit or get fired or resigned from the U.S. Navy due to problems in their own families, problems with their jobs, problems with what they in the merchant and sailing industry itself. That they formed an alliance called War Against the World, where it was a group of pirates from all over the West Indies, the Bahamas, the United States, and England, and France, and Germany. They were all ex-sailors of the Royal Navies. And piracy is basically criminal acts brought on by violence, basically robbery, and it's another way of surviving and making your mark on the world. So we're going to talk about some pirates today that were real. Because in this channel, obviously, I've said that I'll be telling stories, I'll be showing things off, I'll be talking about reenacting. This channel itself is going to focus on the paranormal, and it's going to also focus on history. Today I talked about true history. Well, in the past I've talked about history and showed you some things, the reenactments and my reenacting gear. Now we're going to get into true history and true people. So, between 2015 and 2017, for 4 long years, there was a show called Black Sails, which is a spin-off to Treasure Island. It's the story before Treasure Island. And who do we have in there? We have, obviously, pirates from history, true people, and we have pirates from the book. Flint is not a real character. Long John Silver is not a real character. However, the people who we will be talking about are Woodes Rogers, who was a real pirate, who was a real governor, Anne Bonny, who was an Irish pirate, Jack Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack, who was also a real pirate. We're also going to be talking about the most infamous and feared pirate of all time, Edward Teach. And we're also going to be talking about Ned Low. We're also going to be talking about someone by the name of Governor Charles Eden. And we're also going to be talking about the guy who killed Blackbeard himself. So we're going to start off with the most fearsome pirate by the name of Edward Teach. He was a pirate who was born in the UK, Bristol, England. They say around 1680, it says, that I learned when I looked him up earlier. And he first served as a privateer. And then he served with Captain Hornigold. Hornigold's a real pirate as well. Hornigold stopped around 1716, 1718 as being a pirate. But Captain Edward Teach stayed as a pirate. And he was known for going up and down the West Indies and plundering and stealing ships. He stole a Spanish ship called the Queen Anne's Revenge, which was his ship. Now, obviously, he did not name, this was not called the Queen Anne's Revenge directly. He named it that. It was his flagship. Pirates had a fleet of ships and other captains. He got the ship when he went on a raid, and it was called, at first, let me look it up. It was called called as I was looking him up, I'll look him up again. He was obviously, like I said, Blackbeard was an English pirate who operated around the West Indies and around the eastern coast of British North America. He found a ship and he named it. It was a French slave ship called the La Concorde, and he obviously fought the French slave ship and wound up taking it as a prize, and he named it the Queen Anne's Revenge. And it was about a 40-gun boat. He did not want to come up against the Queen Anne's Revenge. But it was a 40-gun boat with a 70-man crew. And he served up and down the West Indies and served in Savannah. He went to Savannah and went to Bath, North Carolina. He served under many different pirate captains. Obviously, one day he went to an island called what was it again? It was called Ocracoke, Providence of North Carolina. And it was an island somewhere off the coast of North Carolina. And on November 22nd, 1718, because he was active from 1716 to 1718, he was a fierce pirate of his time because he would put grenades and explosives in his beer to scare the hell out of people into surrendering. And what he would do was he would aboard the ship, take the cargo, either kill you or sink you. He was caught by a lieutenant colonel by the name of Robert Menard, who caught him one day around the North Carolina area. The oak, and it was called the it was called the yeah. So if I remember now, I'm wrong. I forgot. It was the Queen Anne's Revenge, 40 gun ship, and 300. This is the first time I've looked up pirates. So sorry if I'm being a weirdo or not doing such a great job. But let me see. Yeah, but he was he was in North Carolina at Ocracoke, Providence of North Carolina, and it was a small unincorporated town located at the southern end of Ocracoke Island, located entirely within the Hyde County, North Carolina. He was in that area, probably plundering and pillaging towns, because that's what pirates would do. He was caught by Robert Maynard, and they got in a fused fight. He wound up at the end of everything. This would be at the end of November of 1718. He broke Lieutenant Maynard's sword in half, and he wound up being stabbed multiple times from Captain Maynard, Lieutenant Captain Maynard, and other of his crew members. And when they did this, they wound up turning around and they chopped off his head. And they put Edward Teach's head on the sails of their ship on their way back to England. As a result, to show England that they got the pirate Blackbeard, who was the most fearsome pirate of all time. And so on. Once they did that, once they got to England, they put his head on a post to warn pirates that you come across the British border, we will kill you. So that's what they did. Another pirate of that era was Calico Jack, also known as Jack Rackham. He was a pirate from 1716 to 1720. He served with Charles Vane, another pirate, who was known for beating up prisoners and attacking slave ships, stealing cargo, taking information that they needed, and using it to their own advantage. They all did, basically, get caught, would have been arrested, and they took to their advantage pardons, which didn't last very long because they all went back into piracy. But they served up and down the West Indies and the Bahamas, and they worked out of a pirate island, which was basically their domain. It used to be England's at the time, but somehow in some way England lost it. So this little area in the Bahamas in the West Indies was known as Nassau, which was technically considered the pirate capital of the world at one time, which is where all the pirates would engage and do their business stealings and head in and head out. He would leave Nassau and visit North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. He would sail up and down the coast, pillaging and plunging. One of the things that makes a pirate ship different than a Royal Navy ship is what you see on uh, movies and television and books. You think pirates as interesting and great adventures, and it's all about looking for treasure. It was not about looking for treasure per se. It was about survival and living to the fullest. And basically, it was crime on the high seas. Pirates were not good people in general. If you were caught, you were tried, and you were hanged. Period. Pretty much what Charles Vane would do and Calico Jack would do is, if they were captains, their authority only mattered in battle or in certain orders. Basically, on a Royal Navy ship, your orders are orders. Captains are captains. What goes is what goes. What gets done gets done. What is said is said. Period. On pirate ships, everything is voted. So you may hear of a fearsome captain, but if he doesn't do such a great job, people can vote him off, and someone else can take their place. Charles Vane was once voted out of the captaincy of the Ranger, which is what he used to captain. Calico Jack became captain, and vice versa, and but they were fearsome pirates working out of Nassau, ran the West Indies. He was tried in Jamaica he was tried in Jamaica in 1721 and hanged for piracy. And they would take the pirates, they would place them in cages, basically leave them there until they rotted. Calico Jack was pirate until 1720, when the governor of Jamaica hanged him and quartered him. Piracy basically phased out until in 1830. By 1830, there were no more pirates. That theory basically left. But I've been watching a whole lot of pirate movies lately, and I did some theory. I've been watching them and learned, it shows you. I got to learn a little bit the true meaning of what piracy was about. No, it was not about treasure. But if you look up black sails or look up pirates, you'll learn about them, and it tells you what they've done. I learned one thing, that pirates did have skulls and crossbones, meanings and hearts and skeletons and pictures on their flags. Yes, that is true. That was like their mark. But really, did you know that wasn't the big deal, and that wasn't the big case? What was the big case was pirates actually had a black flag that was nothing but black. And how they did that was they would sneak up on a ship, and they would act like they were a Spanish ship, or a French ship, or an American ship, or a ship from England. And what they would do is, once they got the ship's attention, they would lower the ship's flag and raise the black flag, which put fear in the hearts of sailors. And I learned that the black flag means they surrender. They take prisoners. But there was a pirate I heard of let me see. There was a pirate that flew a yellow flag. So yeah. So yes, they flew flags. I, well, either way, from what I learned, is there was a pirate flag. There was a pirate that flew a yellow flag, and it was not meant as a very good situation if you saw it. But obviously obviously yes, they flew different flags for different reasons. Most of them were black, but most of them were black flags. Basically, what I learned is that the yellow flag means we don't take prisoners, and that was, I think it was Eugene something. He was a captain, either yellow or red. I really don't know too much about pirate flags, but anyway, moving on. And Bonnie was a pirate in England, but she was an Irish. She was an Irish pirate who married a man by the name, a sailor by the name of James Bonnie. He disciplined her, and she wound up going with Captain Rackham. Her death is unknown. So, but anyway, but piracy was a crime committed on the high seas. Golden age of piracy was between 1650 to 1730, and it phased out in the 1830s. But Nassau used to be the pirate capital of the world. So, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this lesson on pirates. Sorry if I was a little jumbled up and you couldn't follow what I was talking about. Not really good with pirate flags, but at least I was telling some history. Didn't mean to leave out anybody. We could always do another follow-up video soon. But I hope everybody's enjoying 2023, and I guess I'll be back soon with another video soon.